Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and there's Rock and Roll Stock Connection with the first of a 5-part series of unboxings based on the unboxings of the Ravnica Allegiance Guild Kits. We're going to kick things off today with the Gruul. So, let's look at the non-card things. First off, we've got this nifty little Gruul pin. Got the Gruul signet on it. Then we got a Gruul spin down life counter with the Gruul signet where the 20 would be. Then we've got this insert. Got the expanded version of their Ravnica artwork, as well as the new Ravnica artwork, I should say, as well as this simply burn, smash, fight, win. That seems to be the motto. The rules of the clans, and I've also got a deck box. Alright, so I've actually gone through and organized these in the order that they appear in on the deck list, so that it'll make it easier to go through and say, this is, okay, So anyway, we got Birds of Paradise. Always nice to see an Eddie sealed product. I don't think I got one of these until I pulled it out of a Commander deck a few years back. I would eventually then pull one from a booster, but it wasn't one of the. It wasn't a. It was something like Battleborn or maybe one of the. Not matches. Never bought any of the matches. That's because it was too damn expensive. Conspiracy. I think it's one of the conspiracy ones. So anyway, we got Birds of Paradise, which 1 green for a bird that has flying. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. 0/1. Should probably do that a little bit differently. Probably will, actually. Alright, next up we've got the Skargan Pitskulk. Oh, yes, Birds of Paradise was in Ravnica City of Guilds, for which Ravnica said it would. For the Ravnica set it was in. I think initially it was in Alpha. So the Skargan Pitskulk was initially in Guild Pact. Way back in Guild Pact. Anyway, Skargan Pitskulk is a 1/1 human warrior with Bloodthirst 1. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn, this creature enters the battlefield with a 1/1 count with a +1/+1 counter on it. Creatures with power less than Skargan Pitskulk's power can't block it. No chump blocking. Alrighty. Next up, we've got the Wasteland Viper from also all the way back from Gate Crash. Wasteland Viper costs 1 green. It's a 1/2 snake with Death Touch and Blood Rush, 1 green. Discard. Oh, okay. Gate Crash, not Guild Pact. Yeah. Anyways, discard Wasteland Viper after paying 1 green. Target attacking creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Okay, alright. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got from Ravnica Allegiance, the Immolation Shaman. Immolation Shaman comes in at 1 colorless and 1 red, and it's a 1/3 Viashino Shaman. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability, Immolation Shaman deals 1 damage to that player. Now this focuses on opponents, so okay. Now for 3 colorless and 2 red, the Immolation Shaman gets +3/+3 and gains menace until end of turn. So it can become at least a 4/6. Next up, we've got the Clan Guild Mage from Ravnica Allegiance. Now, every single time that we go to Ravnica, we get Guild Mages for each of the clans. I'm actually surprised they've found different ways to do the Guild Mages for each guild. Anyway, This time around, like I said, Ravnica Allegiance. Clan Guild Mage costs 1 red and 1 green. It's a 2/2 human shaman. So anyway, this is for 1 red, 1 colorless and 1 red, and tapping it. Target creature can't block this turn. 2 colorless, 1 green, tap. Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. We get 2 of those. Next up, we've got the Scab Clan Mauler. Also coming in at 1 red, 1 green. It's a 1/1 human berserker with Bloodthirst 2. So this means it's from back in Guild Pact. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn, this creature enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it, and it also has trample. So it's best to try and deal some damage, then slap this bad boy down. And it becomes at least a 3/3. Next up, from Dragon's Maze, we have the Jurtag Druid. So 1 red, 1 green human druid for 1 at 1/1. Tap, add 1 green. Whenever you tap Jurtag Druid for mana, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's not bad. Next up, we've got the Jurtag Goblin from Ravnica Allegiance. I got a bunch of these already. 1 red, 1 green for a 2/2 Goblin Berserker with Riot. Now, Riot is the newest Gruul clan ability. What it does is that when it enters the battlefield, you can choose to either give it a +1/+1 counter or haste. Simple as that. Next up, we've got the Burning Tree Emissary. Now, Burning Tree Emissary is one of those creatures that has... You can pick which color of mana you want to use. It requires 2 mana to cast, either red or green. It's a 2/2 human shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you add 1 red and 1 green to your mana pool. It's not bad. Might be ending up in... And, oh, that's right. The Burning Tree Shaman. Well, the Burning Tree Emissary was in Gatecrash, and the Burning Tree Shaman was way back in Guild Pact. Okay, the Emissary was in Gatecrash. The Shaman, who we're about to do, the Burning Tree Shaman, yeah, comes out of Guild Pact. Costs 1 colorless, 1 red, and 1 green for a 3/4 Centaur Shaman. Whenever a player activates an ability that isn't a mana ability, Burning Tree Shaman deals 1 damage to that player. Okay, alright, you gotta be careful there. Next up, from Gatecrash, is the Gore Clan Rampager. It's got Blood Rush, which was the Gruul ability from that go round. So anyway, 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 green for a 4/4 beast with trample and Blood Rush. The Blood Rush ability goes like this: 1 red, 1 green. Discard Gore Clan Rampager. Target attacking creature gets +4/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Okay, alright. Next up, we've got Ulasht, the Hate Seed. Ulasht is from way back in Guild Pact. Right? Yeah, alright. It costs 2 colorless, 1 red, and 1 green. It's a legendary creature, Hellion Hydra. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other red creature you control and each other green creature you control. For 1 colorless and removal of a +1/+1 counter from it, you can choose one. Either deal 1 damage to target creature, or create a 1/1 Sapperling creature token. Okay. Next up, we've got Rumbling Slum from all the way back in Guild Pact once again. Rumbling Slum costs 1 colorless, 1 red, and 2 green for a 5/5 elemental. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to each player. Probably why it has only costs 4, but it's the 5/5. Next up, from Ravnica Allegiance, we've got the Sunder Shaman. We get 2 of these in the deck. Costs 2 red, 2 green for a 5/5 giant shaman. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. That can be very useful. Next up, we've got the Giant Solifuge from all the way back in Guild Pact. Costs 2 colorless and then 2 either red or green mana. It's a 4/1 insect with trample, haste, and shroud. So basically, the exception of being blocked, that's pretty much the only way to deal with it is block the damn thing. Or, of course, I'm not sure if Shroud. I don't think Shroud messes with casting and countering. But anyways, next up we've got the Rebel Belt Raiders. They cost 1 colorless and 3 either red or green mana for 3/3 human warriors. Anyways, they are out of Gate Crash. Whenever they attack, with a +1/+1 counter on it for each attacking creature you control. So yeah, basically you want to set these guys in with a whole swarm of creatures. And it's interesting to note that Nikia of the Old Ways, who is credited with their flavor text, is actually in Allegiance as an actual card. Next up, we've got the Jurta Swine from also from Gate Crash. The Jurta Swine comes in at 3 colorless and 1 red and 1 green for a 5/4 boar with Blood Rush. Which goes like this: 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. Discard Jurta Swine. Target attacking creature gets +5/+4 until end of turn. Well, not the biggest fan of Blood Rush. I mean, it's cool to boost up a creature with, say, oh hey, this creature gets this creature's stuff too for this turn. But at the same time, I'd rather just, I like the Blood Rush a lot better, or not Blood Rush, Bloodthirst a lot better. Speaking of Bloodthirst, next up we've got the Skargan Firebird from way back in Guild Pact. This is actually a creature that made its way into my mono red deck, my non-goblin mono red deck. Anyway, it's costs 4 colorless and 2 red for a 3/3 Phoenix with. It's got Bloodthirst 3, so if an opponent was dealt damage this turn, it comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. It's got flying, obviously. Then for 3 red, you can return it from your graveyard to your hand, but only if an opponent was dealt damage this turn. So that's kind of a secondary Bloodthirst ability. Next up, from Gate Crash, we have a card that slips out of my hand. We have the Rebel Hulk. The Rebel Hulk comes in at 4 colorless, 1 red, 1 green for a XX elemental. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, so you want to have a lot of lands out, obviously. And it's a Blood Rush, 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 green, and you discard it. Target attacking creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. Okay, alright. Here's the foil for this one. Rurik Thar, the Unbowed. Or Unbowed. Anyway, so a little bit of lore here. Rurik Thar was the Gruul clan champion for the maze that ended up being in the second Ravnica block. In fact, the maze it was the title of Dragon's Maze. Each of the 10 clans, or each of the 10 guilds had a champion that would then try and go through the maze and get through first. Anyway, so yeah, Rurik Thar, the Unbowed. 4 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. He's a legendary creature, ogre warrior for 6/6. There's a 6/6 legendary ogre warrior. It's there. He's got vigilance and reach, always a plus. Reach, that is. And he attacks each combat if able. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Rurik Thar deals 6 damage to that player. And that's a player, not just an opponent. So you gotta be careful with it. More like make sure you got everything you're gonna want out in the way of non-creature spells before you cast it. Next up, excuse me, from Ravnica Allegiance we have the Ravager Worm. Costs 3 colorless, 1 red, 2 green. It's a 4/5 worm. It's got Riot. Comes with my choice of either +1/+1 counter or haste. When it enters the battlefield, I can choose up to 1. It fights target creature that I don't control, where they each deal damage to each other equal to their power. Or destroy target land with an activated ability that isn't a mana ability. Okay, I mean, both are, both aren't bad. But gotta choose one, or I can just choose none. Next up, from Dissension, going way back, got the Protean Hulk. It actually was a Simic card, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Protean Hulk costs 5 colorless and 2 green for a 6/6 beast. When it dies, search your library for any number of creature cards with total converted mana cost 6 or less and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Alright, okay. I can dig that. Then we've got from all the way back in Guild Pact, Borborygmos, who was the guild leader, or Parun of the guild, from back in the first block. Borborygmos comes in at 3 colorless, 2 red, 2 green. He's a 6/7 legendary Cyclops. He's got trample. When he deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Whew. And there was actually another version of Borborygmos made in the second Ravnica block. Yeah, anyway, moving on. From Dragon's Maze, we have the Savage-Born Hydra. Savage-Born Hydra comes in at X colorless and 1 red, 1 green. It says 0/0 Hydra with double strike, and it enters the battlefield with X number of +1/+1 counters on it. For 1 colorless and then 1 either red or green mana, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Savage-Born Hydra. However, you can only do that anytime you can cast a sorcery, so your main phases, basically. Alright, next up we've got the Gruul Signet from Guild Pact, which was initially done in Guild Pact, but has also popped up in every other Gruul-related set except for, well, let's see. Basically, popped up in Gatecrash as well as Allegiance. It's an artifact, costs 2 colorless. Then for 1 colorless and tapping it, you can add 1 red and 1 green to your mana pool. We get 2 of them. Then Got Cinder Vines from Ravnica Allegiance. Cinder Vines is an enchantment. Costs 1 red, 1 green. I played against it in the pre-release, but sadly did not pull it in the pre-release. Afterwards, yes. During, no. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cinder Vines deals 1 damage to that player. 1 colorless, sacrifice Cinder Vines. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Cinder Vines deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. That's not fun. Next up, we've got Gruul Charm from which was in Gate Crash. It's an instant that costs 1 colorless and 1 green. You choose one. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. Gain control of all permanents you own. Gruul Charm deals 3 damage to each creature with flying. Okay. So, yeah. Next up, we've got Gate Crash. Also from Gate Crash. Pit Fight. It costs 1 colorless, one either red or green. It's an instant. Target creature you control fights another target creature. So the best way to do it is find a way to make sure that you've got a means of if you must fight, set it up in such a way so that so that you will win no matter what. I mean, using the fight mechanic. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just prefer, hey, just use, there's a combat phase for that. Next up, though, we've got Rhythm of the Wild, which is an enchantment from Ravnica Allegiance. Costs 1 colorless, 1 red, and 1 green, and is definitely one of the best cards from the set. Alright, so, first and foremost, creature spells you control can't be countered. That's always good. Next up, we've got non-token creatures you control have Riot, meaning they enter the battlefield with either my choice of a +1/+1 counter or haste. During the pre-release, it appears that it was shown that apparently it stacks. So if you have Rhythm of the Wild out, and then you play another creature with Riot, you get to say, okay, well, for Rhythm of the Wild, the Riot is generated from Rhythm of the Wild, I give it +1/+1 counter. For the Riot it itself has, I'm giving it haste. So, yeah. Both is good. Next up, also from Ravnica Allegiance, we've got Flames of the Raised Boar. It's an instant. Costs 5 colorless and 1 red. Deals 4 damage to every creature an opponent controls. Then it deals 2 damage to each other creature that player controls if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Also, the Raised Boar is from Gruul lore. Basically, it's a Raised Boar will rise and destroy the city of Ravnica, like the entire friggin' city. Next up, from Guild Pack, we have Wormweaver Coil. It's a 4 colorless, 2 green enchantment aura. So you enchant a green. You have to enchant a green creature with it. Enchanted creature gets +6/+6. Then, for 3 green, and sacrificing the Wormweaver Coil, create a 6/6 green worm creature token. You know what? I'll just leave it on the creature for +6/+6. Thank you. Then from Guild Pack, we've got Savage Twister. Savage Twister costs X colorless, 1 red, and 1 green. The sorcery and deals X damage to each creature. Okay, alright. And finally, out of Allegiance, we've got Collision/Colossus. So, Collision costs 1 colorless and then either 1 red or 1 green. It's an instant. and it deals 6 damage to target creature with flying. Colossus costs 1 red and 1 green. Target creature gets +4/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. That ain't bad. Excuse me. Then we've got the 2 versions of the gate, the Gruul Guild Gate from Allegiance. We also got Gruul Turf from Guild Pact. Then we've got mountains, 8 of them to be exact. And forests, again, 8 of them to be exact. Also included were some tokens, including 5 worm tokens and 5 sapperling tokens. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Gruul Guild Kit. Tomorrow we did the Gruul, so I think maybe we'll go a bit more civilized. Maybe the Orzhov or the Azorius. Of course, we may just go even more on different type of uncivilized and go with the Rakdos, or a different type of civilized and go with the Cynic. We'll figure it out we'll figure it tomorrow. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Comment if you want. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description box down below. This is Rock Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.